Hi y'all, this is Losman here, and tonight is Sunday, so that means it's time for another lazy Sunday roundup. Now, what can be said about tonight? Oh, it's December 1st, so that means that we're done with Thanksgiving and we're on to Christmas. Now, contrary to what so many people may think, Christmas is a time for horror movies. Yes, there are a lot of them out there. Believe me, I have cataloged quite a number of them. But before we go there, I'm going to get started on my weekend review. So I spent the past couple of days in the Dallas area visiting my girlfriend's family, which is what we usually do around the holidays. So I took advantage of the opportunity to start watching movies, making movie lists, and getting ready for what I'm calling LosMas, which is the month of Losman's Christmas. If you're kind of curious what LosMas meant, it's Losman's Christmas. So I even had a fun little song, something like this. Last Losmas, I made me a list, a very good list. I'll do it again this year. Whatever. I can't remember it. It's out there somewhere. But it basically finished off with, this year, I'll do it again, and I'll make it something frightful. So, yes, so please ignore my horrible singing. But, so yesterday, the girlfriend and I went to go see a movie together, and we went to go check out Knives Out. And I will just say this right now, if you like whodunits and you like intelligent movies with great casts and good dialogue, go check this movie out. It's fun. It's not really a scary movie or a thriller. It's more black comedy, but it's great. I will do a little more in-depth video review shortly, so I'll post that one a little bit later tonight. So another thing that I wanted to bring up was, because it's Christmas, we've got some Christmas horror movies worth checking out, and I definitely did some shopping this weekend, and I definitely wanted to get get in the right spirit of things. So I went ahead and picked up two of the most famous Christmas horror movies ever made, or at least ones that I think are pretty famous. First off, we have the 1974 Bob Clark classic Black Christmas. Now, what can be said about Black Christmas? Well, I'm going to do a more in-depth review of the movie because it deserves it, but I'll tell you this right now. One of the first slasher movies ever made. One of the OG slasher... Well, of course, it's the first slasher... One of the first slasher movies. It's definitely the first slasher movie... Well, one of the first to come out of North America, even though it is Canadian. But without a doubt, it is the best Christmas horror movie ever made, and it is amazing. It is awesome. It is streaming on at least 3 or 4 clients that I can find, or maybe even 5 or 6, or many more. So there's no excuse for you not to watch this movie. But like I said, I got this beautiful Blu-ray at the this weekend. It even has a alternate background picture on there. You can go ahead and pull the slipcover out and see it's even got the original poster on there. So it's pretty neat. This is a great little Blu-ray that as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting this. So I'll do a more in-depth review of Black Christmas this week. Now, the other movie I'm going to bring up, and I'm also going to do a more in-depth review of this movie, is the 1984 movie Silent Night, Deadly Night. Yes, this movie. Oh boy, what can we say about this movie? It raised a shitstorm of controversy when it came out in 1984, and this one is the 30th anniversary edition, so this came out probably about 5 years ago. I know they released a newer one that's got a different front cover on there, but this one is the one that really pissed off the parents, so that's for sure. And this is an uncut, yes, original unrated version, so even bloodier. So I'm going to do a much more in-depth review of this movie later. Now, for fun, because it is LosMas, I wanted to give people an opportunity to participate and carry on, because, hey, you know what? What better time to watch scary movies than Christmas? And I know for a lot of people, when they ask, like, oh, you mean they make Christmas horror movies? Yeah, there's actually quite a number of them. I counted 84. Now, there's probably more, and I'll probably find more, but last year I watched 24 and did reviews on them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and repost the reviews all this month for all the movies. That included, you know, Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night, and a few other movies that are pretty prominent and well-known. And this year, I'm doing another list, as I said in my goofy little song. And I'm going to be doing 24 more Christmas-related horror movies. I've already watched about 5 or 6, so I can start writing the reviews and getting them done. And last night, I posted the first one. It was for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, which... I don't have a copy of that movie, but everybody knows that movie because it is the sequel, and it does follow up with the first film left off with the younger brother. And what people tend to remember about it is that it's its famous catchphrase, "Garbage Day!" But I will say this about Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. If you've never seen the first movie, and someone gives you a copy of the movie Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, you know what? You don't even really need to see the first one, because half the movie is footage from the first movie. I mean, they really do they really use a lot of the original footage, and they more or less tell you what goes down. They even show you some of the choice death scenes in there, you know, especially, you know, like when the parents get murdered, and then, you know, a few of the more creative scenes, especially the one involving Lena Quigley. Yes, that's right. Lena Quigley is in the first movie. Yes, definitely. I'm going to be meeting her in February. It's going to be awesome. Now, the other thing I was going to bring up here is, because it is LosMas, I created some watch lists. You know, because, you know, with 84 potential movies to seek out, some of them are not available streaming, though, so it's going to take a little bit of time to figure out how to get those movies. I went ahead and put together watch guides for Tubi, Amazon Prime, Shudder, and Netflix. So that way you can look for various, you know, Christmas-related horror movies if you want to check them out. I mean, they should have all the major ones that are out there. You know, you have Black Christmas, you have all through, let me see, All the Creatures Were Stirring, I believe, let's see, Tales from the Crypt should be out there, hopefully. If not, I'll look for it. Let's see, then you have... let's see, you got a bunch of them out there. So, and although I do have to say, Netflix kind of disappointed me. They only have 3 Christmas-related horror movies and about 100 Hallmark-type movies. Whatever. Okay, now the one movie that I'm really most looking forward to finding, because this is one I tried to find last year but couldn't. It's a 1989 French movie called Deadly Games. Now, in French, the movie actually has a different title, which I don't have written right here. But Deadly Games is a French Christmas horror movie. It's been described as Home Alone meets Rambo. Basically, a you know, a villain dressed up as Santa Claus breaks into a house, and it's a little kid who basically has to defend his house. Wow, that sounds familiar. And yes, it actually predated Home Alone. So just so you know that the movie didn't rip off anything. Maybe Home Alone did, you know, without the creative violence and whatnot. No, actually, there was a lot of violence in Home Alone, just not a horror movie. But you know what? You could make Home Alone into a scary movie with by changing some of the sound and editing. Ooh, that's something to think about. But yeah, definitely. So tomorrow, which is December 2nd, Deadly Games will be streaming on Shudder, and I'm definitely going to be checking that out. And I'll even do a really detailed review on that one, because I'm really looking forward to that one. Now, as part of my LosMas list, I started, you know, watching some Christmas-related horror movies that are out there. Now, keep in mind that I watched some of the more popular ones last year, and I wrote, you know, good little reviews on them and posted them. So right now, I'm going down the list of movies that I either didn't do last year or discovered recently. So some of those movies are a little more obscure. I did watch one called Sleigh Bells last week, which was actually pretty fun. It's about a group of YouTube you know, adventure girls who invite a friend, and they go to an abandoned Santa land so they can, you know, go around there and do some urban exploring, and they unwittingly unleash Krampus and Santa Claus, who has to go out there and help them, you know, contain Krampus. It's a comedy. It's kind of silly, you know, because it's, you know, it's, let's just put it this way. You've got, you know, hot girls dressed in, you know, sexy, you know, sexy elf costumes, basically being chased by a very scary Krampus. So it's a fun movie. It's out there. I watched it. It's going to be included on my list, so I'll write a more detailed review of it. Another one I watched was was oh, Mrs. Claus. That one I watched like really early in the morning, and the only thing I can really remember offhand is it basically involves a sorority prank gone wrong, and you had a couple of deaths involved. So years later, you have someone seeking revenge. So basically, college revenge. Not uncommon. Now this particular movie was unique because it features Brink Stevens, who is one of the most famous scream queens out there. I mean, she's been in like 200 movies, so it was great seeing Brink in there. And I'm like Linnea Quigley. I'm going to be meeting the two of them at at the Cult Classic Convention in February, so I'm really excited about that. And let's see, I also found a fun little movie. It was called A Cadaver Christmas. This one's a little obscure. Actually, a lot of these movies are going to be obscure. This one's a kind of not a zombie movie. It is a cadaver movie, an animated cadaver movie involving a group of local guys having to do battle with cadavers that have come back. It's a comedy, kind of like Shaun of the Dead or Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It's not as funny, but it was okay. I mean, not too bad. Had some creative kills and some fun moments, and the cast was okay. And then I watched another movie before I went to bed last night called Dead by Christmas. This one was but basically just an hour long, and it involved a group of children who were raised in an orphanage by a sadistic priest who've come back years later, and basically someone is killing them off. So could it be it's not the priest, because they state that the priest committed suicide after the scandal was revealed. So it's basically one of those movies where kind of a whodunit sort of movie. Kind of predictable though. So what I will say about Dead by Christmas? Yes, Dead by Christmas featured a moment that they lifted directly from the remake of Black Christmas, which I thought was kind of like, seriously, if you're gonna make an independent horror movie and you want to do something, something to make your movie stand out, stealing creative death scenes isn't the way to do it. I mean, honestly, come on, this particular incident or this particular event is one, if you ever watch this movie, you'll know what it is, because it's one of the major things that they show in the remake of A Black Christmas that made it stand out from the original movie. So we won't talk about that. All right. So like I said, my master list of Christmas related horror movies includes 84 movies so far, and I will probably add to it as I find more movies, because it's kind of hard to search for Christmas-related horror movies when you're sifting through dozens and dozens of Christmas. I mean, seriously, what does it take to make a Christmas movie, for Hallmark or Netflix? Hi, I've got a script here. It involves a couple. They're both, single, woman looking for love, guy looking for love, and Christmas miracle occurs, and yay, seriously, God, it's like, ugh. I mean, how much more derivative can you get than a Christmas movie? I mean, they say that horror movies are too similar, but no, it's Christmas movies. I mean, Jesus Christ, how many times can you tell the same damn story? Lonely lady, lonely guy, and Christmas miracle occurs, and yay, Christmas is saved, whatever. No, God, that's why I watch Christmas horror movies. They're much more fun. All right, so before I close out, I'm going to have some fun here, because as I was putting together my list of Christmas horror movies, one of the more famous ones that everyone likes to talk about is the movie Krampus. Now, Krampus is a great movie. It has Toni Collette, has Adam Scott. Fun movie. It's almost an anthology, not really, but it's a fun little movie. Not too scary, but it's got a lot of great things that work for it. So Krampus is just this wonderful Christmas horror movie to throw on along with Gremlins or Black Christmas, if you want to watch something fun and entertaining. And the reason why I bring that up, oh dear Lord, how many knockoff Krampus movies do you think there are? I mean, think about it. Oh, I got a list right here. Okay, I'm going to go down a list of movies that I found that you can probably stream that involve Krampus. And most of these are knockoffs of Krampus, or they're just, riding off the success of Krampus, or maybe someone realized that, hey, you know what? Maybe we should use this Krampus character as a scary movie villain. So let's take a look. We have Krampus, the Christmas Devil. We have Mother Krampus 1 and 2. We have Krampus, the Reckoning. Okay. We also have Krampus Unleashed. Krampus, the Devil Returns. I wonder if it's a follow-up to the first one. And then we have Krampus Origins, because, you gotta have an origin story. Oof. And here's the funny thing. I've actually seen 2 of these already. Oh, God. You know what? I even think there's a... Yeah, you know what? I think I remember watching Mother Krampus last year. And I know I watched one last night. I think or the other night, I watched Krampus, the Christmas Devil, I believe. So, yeah. Let me see, was that... Let me check my list. Yeah, Krampus, the Christmas Devil. I did watch that one. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of these are not good movies. I'm gonna have to soldier through them. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is, after I watch one of these movies, I'm gonna have to pop in A Christmas Story, or put on like Christmas Vacation, just to have something fun to watch, or throw in Black Christmas, because I love watching Black Christmas. Or you know what, I'll watch the original Krampus again and again, because that's such a fun movie. But you know what, we're still gonna watch them, because hey, that's what I do. I want to watch and encourage Christmas horror movies, because 'tis the season for some slaying, la la la. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's just me being silly, of course, and with that, I'll go ahead and let you go. If you want to follow me, you can check me out on Twitter and Instagram. I am at LosMan94, simple enough to find me out there. And I do have my YouTube channel, which is where this video is going to be posted, and definitely, want to encourage people to subscribe to me and follow me, That way I can keep putting out these videos, which basically cost me nothing and have no editing involved, Like I said, I do it for fun. But it will encourage me to post more individual videos that are a little more detailed, a little more edited, ones that are, because those ones take a little more time to do, because I actually sit down and I write a script, or at least have some notes to go along with it. But that being said, hey, you know what? We're in the final month of the year, and with that, that's the lowdown with the Losman.